Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Happy Sunday. Even if the time is different, even if we have different times all over the world, we don't have different days. So it's a beautiful Sunday. It's a great Sunday. How was your Sunday service? I hope it was great. And if you didn't go to church, don't worry. Let me just share my blessings with you. You're blessed. Ooh, how has your weekend been? I know it's been glorious. I am Janet Ajobiowe. I'm the family coach, the rescue agent on a global mission. Yes, and part of the rescue function is what I'm doing here now. I am here on this webinar. And guess what? We have a big fish. Oh, don't let me whisper it before she comes in. EMEM OPASHI is in. She's in the studio with me. Oh, this wonderful woman. You'll be so impressed when she downloads everything for you. She's an educationist, so don't be afraid. Everything she says, she knows about it. I am telling you the truth. Everything she says, she knows well about it. EMEM OPASHI, she wants to be called an unconventional educator. She helps key players in the public and private sector education ecosystem to easily access relevant tools, resources, and solutions while leveraging the right network to help them achieve their individual and corporate objectives. Okay. Oh, you are salivating already. Oh, let me bring her in so that you will see her while I read out her bio. Drum rolls, drum rolls. Oh, drum rolls. EMEM is here. Cat walking into my studio. EMEM is here.
Oh.
Hello, how are you?
Fine,
God bless you. Thank you for
so
coming.
Thank you so much.
I know it's not easy for you, EMEM. Honestly, I know. You had to travel to Nigeria all the way from UK for an important program, hasn't it? You tell us a little about it. I don't want to say it from my own mouth. I want you to tell us about it. For you to travel from UK to Nigeria for the program that you yourself founded, I know it's a very wonderful one and a big one. And now you concluded it just yesterday and you are coming in from my program. Oh, we are very, very honored. Honestly speaking, this is a great honor for us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm giving you an online warm.
I have a sign here that says here, free hugs here.
We are having an off day anyway. So, EMEM, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Please just give us a hint. And I've told my people that you are here to teach us on how to support our children's career.
Lovely.
Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm really so honored to be here, and I'm really excited we're able to fit in the time. Thank you for including me in this super amazing family. Family is like a big thing for me. That's one of my deep core values in everything I do. Family is very important. So it's really an honor to be here. And thank you for talking about Asni also. She's done a lovely intro for me. And there are a lot of things. I do a lot of things in education, but why the term unconventional came up because I focus on the non-mainstream aspect. The mainstream aspect is being that you're looking at people who run schools or people who do training. So as much as I do that aspect, there's so many parts in the education ecosystem that are overlooked. And it really fits in what we're talking about today. We're talking about, career choices for our children. So in all the things that I do and all of the whole education and stuff, today I'm just speaking as a wife, a mom, someone who is passionate about education, someone who is really big on creativity and using creative approaches to solve things, so that's where I'm coming from. And then someone who is also I'm I am very I'm doing research in terms of multicultural education and that aspect. I like looking at cultural diversity. I enjoy traveling. I've been to probably over 15 or something countries or more. So these are some of the things that form part of my background and what I do. Okay, so that's that. And you mentioned ASNI. So ASNI for us, it's called the Annual School Needs Expo. This year is our 11th year. And why, it's so symbolic to us is because especially at the time when we were planning this event, somewhere along the line, there was a directive in Nigeria that said there was a sudden, there's a sudden supposed restrictions. At that time, we had made payments. We had people that started, planning. And it took, the grace of God. We thought we'd lose our minds, but God made it work. We had exhibitors fly from everywhere. People still came for the program. Most people hadn't started really coming out. So people came. It was full. Everybody is happy. Everyone is safe. Nothing was missing. I can't even thank God enough, so we're so excited. So this is 11 years. We had representation
Congratulations.
from, thank you. So we had reps come from other state governments. We sent out letters to everyone and they honored our invitation. They came, we got gifts, so it was just really good. We got a sponsor, a huge sponsor, international sponsor, which we've never gotten in all our years, especially at a time like this when there's so many things going on with the economy and everything. So it can only be God. So I think that's a huge testimony for us. So that's about ASNI. That's about ASNI. So straight right into our topic. Today we're looking at how to support your children's career choices. Okay. And when we're talking about career, we're talking about a profession or an occupation. And I wouldn't even say you're waiting necessarily till they become adults. Because the way the world is right now, children are beginning to learn to express themselves at an earlier age. Okay, you've seen cases where there are 2 or 3 of them. There are quite a number of them. There are these really young millionaires, especially in the States. There's a girl that makes necklaces or jewelry out of bottle covers, and I think as of last year, she was making about $8.1 million a year. A girl, she's less than 12. I can't remember how old she was. She's less than 12 years old. Okay, so she's using her creative. So sometimes, when we think of career, many of us are thinking, when you enter university, you go to college, you do that, you graduate, then you follow this. But the way it is now, the Lord has given us expression. And when you start seeing these things, you can actually tap into them at an earlier time. So for me now, and for us now, so I have 3 children. 3 children. I call them like what, three grown people. My first son is going to be 22 in the next few weeks. My middle son is 18, and then my daughter is 14. So my first son is graduating from university in July. Second son is going to university in the States, and then my daughter is 14, and she'll be going to year 10.
Wow.
So I'm speaking from a very like personal experience too, from our own experience. One of the things that we had committed, even from when, we got married or even before we got married, I'd always said that, see, we're going to make sure these children follow their passion and their strengths, their areas of strength. So we're never going to start forcing any of them. And we don't, when you guys get married, you never know how many kids you're going to have. You don't even know what it's going to be like. But that was one thing we used to talk about a lot when we first got married. We said, you know what, when we have kids, we're going to make sure that they follow their strengths and we support them and so on, So that's one thing I think that's very important for parents. Somewhere along the line, you have to make this decision. It's quite important. And how it all starts. It's from an early age. You start looking at the little things. Most children, by the age of 2, 3, they're showing some things. Some 2-year-olds are you find that some of them they're already very expressive. They're quite assertive. You begin to find that this person has some strength in this area, okay? And begin to look at some of the things that they're doing. Some children at a young age, some parents probably call them, they're very stubborn, they're very this. But then if you look at it the other way, they're probably very assertive. They probably know what it is that they want, and that can be tapped, and harnessed into an actual positive strength. All right. So how do we even begin? It starts from an early age. Once they start interacting and communicating more with you, you can be observing them And then as believers, and I know that even other religions, even the Jews, we talked about it today in church. One of the things they do, they gather their children like every day and every second they can, and they bless them. They speak blessings into their lives. And so I think that's something, when you're speaking blessings. You see, even in the Bible, where what's his name now, Samson, when the angel came and spoke to the dad, and the dad was like, okay, so what's going to be his vocation? What's he going to do? One of the questions the dad, I mean, that's strange. That's one of the first questions he asked the angel. What will be his vocation? Okay, what is he going to be studying? So that's something that we all want. You all want to know. If someone in the Bible in those days, I'm sure in those days they didn't have all the career options we have, and he's asking an
Yeah.
angel, what is going to, my what's my child's vocation going to be? So I think it's something you should be thinking about at as early as possible. And I'm going back to, so for us now, my first son has always been very creative from an early age. He's always like, the one, he can sit here and draw stuff, he would make stuff. And so that creative side, when we were looking for schools for them, we had to make sure we were looking at an international setting that would give him expression to be able to express that. And I think from an early age, he has always been interested in cooking. My husband cooks really well. My dad used to cook very well. My brothers cook. So cooking with the men around me is not a big thing. Okay, so I'm used to having guys cook around me. And I remember a time when my first son's name is Dami Lola. And when he was in nursery, and the teacher called me, she wanted to have a conversation with us. And she was like, you see, I'm calling you because Dami Lola is always in the cooking corner. And I'm always telling him, cooking is for girls. And
Oh, shut.
can you imagine? I'm telling you, she's like, cooking is for girls. You should not be there. Go to the engineering corner. And we're like, wow, so thank God. I mean, I'm an educator. At that time, I was teaching somewhere else, and I was just very patient. And I listened to her and I said, listen, you need to also get yourself trained. What you've said is very wrong. I said the men in our lives, my dad was a seasoned ambassador, a diplomat. So he lived in almost every continent, and I said my dad was like the best cook in this world. So I said, this is someone that's used to seeing men cook. So I said, so whatever you're teaching, you must be very careful. You must, but don't be biased about these kind of things. You don't really also, so there's no limit to that. I said, why can't the girls be in the engineering corner? Why can't the girls play with cars? Why can't, so these are things that is important. Educators also take note. And so I'm imagining if maybe he had stayed in that school, or it was something that wasn't brought to our notice, they might probably have tried to push him, go to the engineering corner, go and do whatever the stuff. And he's always been interested in that. Okay. So now, why I'm going that far back. So Dami is 22 next month, and he's graduating. He's studying graphic communication and illustration in the university. So his project, he does a lot of the arts, and I always tease him. I always say, what, you're actually living your dream. Many people, they would have made you study law. Just do law first, then or do engineering first, then you can go and be following this thing. But he's loving it. He's excelling. I mean, his project work, he has done all sorts of things. They've done illustrations for books. They have done texture. He's doing a packaging project. So he has created a fictional food brand, a Nigerian brand. I can't remember what it's called, whether Beta Niger or something like that. So he's doing a full packaging as his project. So you're creating packaging for Nigerian food that to international standard. So that is us ensuring that we're following. We've seen the way. We've watched over the years, we've seen where his areas of strength are, and we've been able to support it. So we're very particular about summer camps and after school clubs. Those are very important for you as parents. From the earliest age, never, like that's the one thing I think I'm very emphatic, unless for any reason there's a health challenge or something. Don't underestimate after school clubs, because that's where children discover a lot of their passion and their skills. Okay, summer camps, holiday camps, as much as you can. They're actually excellent. So make sure you get a really good one where they're safe. They're an excellent way for these children to discover the things that they're good at. We one of the first things I did in education as one of my when I left teaching, one of the first things I started doing was a summer camp. So we were one of the only summer and after school camp centers in Abuja at that time. And we used to have every year would have a different theme. We would bring people that teach different things. We had one year where we had someone that was doing sewing. So we had one of our rooms set up with sewing machine. We were surprised how many boys signed up for that. We would have cooking. We had a time when we had a lady teach speech and drama. So we've done all sorts of things where even parents are always surprised to see how their children gravitate. Some parents will come and say, okay, I want my boys to sign up for the maybe the graphic or whatever, and I want the girls to go for cooking. And then some boys will go to their parents and say, Mom, I want to do the cooking. Okay. And so this is where parents begin to discover that, oh, okay, you have an interest. I was surprised. Our middle son, when we did the sewing, he was so intentional about, the sewing. Even me that I'm saying this, at that time, I was like, what are you doing with the sewing now? I thought you would want to do the other, things. And the boys, I think we had more boys in that sewing class than we've ever had before. But they were so intent. They took it so seriously. They learned, little things and all that. And interestingly, I think a few months ago, my son, his button came off and he's like, oh, you guys picked a needle and sewed the button. And I was laughing. I said, where did you learn this thing? He said, it's not you that made us go for all those camps then, and we laughed about it. But these are things, because you're seeing from then to now. And so if your children are young, as your children are young, for those of us who are watching or listening, there are some things you must be able to begin to observe these things. Take note of them, okay? Take them to heart, but also take note of them. Know your children. I think that's really important. And then know them not as, these are my children, because they're so different. They're so different. So know their individual personalities. Know what works for them, all right? Speaking of our second son is going to study chemical engineering. So why I'm sharing this, because these are our children, the same womb, same mother, same father, and they are very different. So the first one you see now, arts, graduate, he's happy, he's enjoying his arts. And then this second one is the math, physics, chemistry guru. And he's got a whole chunk of scholarship and going to study in the States. And he wants to do chemical engineering. Meanwhile, my first son cannot stand anything to do with math. So I love math. I personally like math.
And there's no comparison.
Yeah, there's no comparison. So I remember this one time when they were younger and we went somewhere to introduce, and they said, so it's almost like they could introduce themselves. And my first son said, oh, my name is Dami. I'm the creative genius. And my middle son was like, oh, my name is Yubi. I am a math guru. But it's really funny to see that, because I didn't tell them how to. They just on their own just said, listen, we're comfortable with who we are. We know our area of strength, okay? And so this is something that's really important as parents. You want to be able to really take our time to look and see their areas of strength, and don't do that comparing thing. So because your whole family, everybody studied law, or you have a family of lawyers and you feel everyone in this house must do that, okay?
Study law.
Yes, everybody should study law. Now, even if it's something that you feel is by force, still have conversations, reason together with your children as they get older. Because some people, they feel, please, just do this thing. When you finish, you can go and study something else. Some people take it very seriously. So you can find middle ground. Sometimes you can find a middle ground and say, okay, fine, I'll give you that. And then I'll go and do the one that I like. But I feel it's a waste of time. But then you can't really tell. Some people have particular reasons why. Maybe they want to live vicariously through their children. Maybe they always wanted to do something and they didn't have the chance when they were younger, and they want their kids to do that. We used to condemn that before and say, oh, let your children live their life. But some people, it's so important to them. So if the children feel it's something they can give, why not? You can find middle ground, okay? So some of the things I've said already. So understand your children, understand their personalities, and then be able to know their strength, observe their strengths, find their area of strength. It's very easy to look at. When your children bring report cards, most of us, and the child has 6 A's, 3 B's, and 2 C's. How many of you say, oh, 6 A's, wow. Most of us go, what's with the C now? What happened with the, what didn't you understand with the with the math? Or why did you get C's? Why did you get B's and that? I noticed that that's like an almost, even we that are talking, sometimes we'll be like, oh, what happened with this subject? So our middle son, I think when he did GCSEs, he had, 6 or 7 or 8 A stars. So he did really well. Then he got 1 B or so, something, he got a B. And we were like, oh, what's up with the B? Yeah, I mean, after we jumped and we danced and everything, but we still said, what happened with that subject? What happened with that? So it's good to ask, but then let that not be your first reaction. Let that not be
Think
when someone gets 97%, you're like, how far now?
you
The
ask
3%.
about the other and don't celebrate this 97.
Yes.
Okay.
So sometimes
Mm,
it's fun. I mean, I think it's something typical because you want to know what even happened. Why couldn't you get 100? So even my daughter sometimes would tease her. She's like, "Mom, I did so well. I got 92%." We're like, "Okay, that's really great. What happened with the 8%?" So now we use it as something that we tease them. So it's not like we're putting that pressure, but some people are giving a lot of pressure to them. Okay, so really be able to tap into and understand their areas of strength, and then also bless them with that. If they're having any struggles, support them. It makes a big difference when it's the parent doing the supporting. So many of us, I know many parents out there, they're good at doing lesson teachers and all those things and stuff. Even with lesson teachers, don't let them raise your children. Okay, they're not the parents. So there's a time when we had a lesson teacher for, I think maybe my first son then, because he didn't like math. We thought, okay, let's get him a lesson teacher to support. So one day I was like, let me even see what you're doing in this math. And I sat down with him and we did the stuff. And he says, Mom, in all his years of even struggling with this math, this is the best explanation he has had. And I felt so bad. I'm like, see
wow.
me talking. I'm like, can you believe this thing? So most times I'm like, are you kidding me? I've just paid
Wow.
for a lesson teacher. you know, we paid for a lesson teacher and all of that stuff. And we're like, okay. So I was like, wow. So I'll give more. So then I committed. I said, I'll give more attention to make sure I'm checking what it is he's also doing, going over it myself. Okay. So no matter who is doing it, don't, delegate the role of the parent to someone else. Anyone that's doing stuff, anyone that's out there that is there to help, there is support. They're not you, no matter how busy you are. Okay. No matter how busy you
Yeah.
are. Okay. And then speaking of support, a support system is also vital in helping you with identifying or supporting your children's career, because you may be busy. We're not saying anyone can't be busy. Parents are busier. Parents have more things they want to be doing. So having a solid support system, whether it's grandparents to help you or investing in a proper nanny. So I see families that I think that one thing I totally dislike a lot, especially on this part of the world where you have young children and then you get a nanny who's like around their same age. So what's the purpose? What are you trying to do? So yeah, because to me it's like no use. What are you trying to, why do you have a young person who you probably end up, mistreating? You
It's
can't
even
take them.
enslaving a child for another
Yes.
child.
I know. So for me, I'm like, that's the one thing, I watch some families, you see the little girl, she's trying to carry the baby's bag and she's almost as short as the child, so it's ridiculous. I don't know why people do that. I hear the most ridiculous reasons for that. If you want to get this thing right, you need a support system. When these kids were growing up, we had a nanny who stayed with us for the whole of, we've had some bad ones, but we had this super one. She got married from our house, stayed with us for 12 years and then got married from
Wow.
our house. Okay, but when you find someone like that, you would invest in them. You make sure that they are also happy, they're taken care of. Okay, so because if you work, which everyone most likely you do business, you go out, you work. You don't want to be adding the stress of having someone who you're not sure that they can also help you take care of the children and look out for them. Okay, so getting a child to be able to excel or whatever, if there's things are not going well at home and they're not taken care of properly, then it's already going to affect their academics. So we're not saying parent you shouldn't be busy. You can be busy, but still, be invested in what it is. Find that support system, whether it means you have some of your family that you can trust that are helping you out. All right, but make sure the child feels that, understands that they're well supported, that you care, you love them. These are all part of it. These are all part of it. Okay, there's someone, I think one of my friends, or so, he's a counselor, and he said he was speaking to a child, a young person, not child. This guy was about 18 or 19, and he was counseling the guy, and the guy was telling him, see, he tried to commit suicide, I think, earlier that year, because his parents wanted him by force to study. I don't know what it was they said, but they were virtually threatening him. See, you cannot, this one you want to study. This is what it is. This family is known for this. And the guy was really, because they were really frustrating him. He was struggling in the other subjects. He has his area of strength, but they were still stressing him out. And it got to the point where he felt, you know what, I can't even handle this. Okay, so imagine that kind of thing. I'm sure they don't even know. All they're thinking is their own, from their own side. See, you must study this thing. We've invested in you. Okay, so parents, another thing for you out there, you must be understanding. The world is very different from what, um, and the world is changing so much. Even as we're saying this is different, by the time we're listening to this again next year, there will still be some changes. Okay, there will still
Yeah.
be a lot of changes, and all the careers that we hung on to then, that we felt, ooh, these are the careers of the future. I'm sure you've seen those posts that show us that in the next 3 years, the next 5 years, some of the careers that we're rushing after now, they won't even exist. They will be automated. They will be done differently. They won't be in high demand. So you must, yeah, you must keep current too. And then try and always ask your children. It's not really about where will you work, what office will you work in. I always come from the angle of what solution do you intend to bring to your nation, to the
What solution?
community. Yeah. So yeah. So what solution? Because it's not about you. Like even my son, I asked him, okay, fine, you're enjoying this art, you're doing this stuff. What solution can you use this your career or your profession to actually bring to your community, your nation? What can we do? Look at the issues around you. So when we're talking with our children, let's try and get them thinking critically, and problem solving. We're asking our son that wants to study chemical engineering. We said, chemical engineering, what do you want to do? Because I don't want to hear, I want to work in an office or I want to work in Shell, which is all good ambition. But what solution can you bring to the table? So he was like, he wants to study something on biofuels or something. Even me, I had to go and find out what in the world biofuels were. They didn't want to do biofuels because, like in Nigeria now, we have had power issues from when I ever first came into this country that have been going on since. We've been singing NEPA since I was 5 years old. And it's really very
Oh
sad.
God,
I'm telling you, it's very sad that
it's a
nobody,
very sad thing. No.
yeah. So I told them, I said, good, this is the way I need to be thinking. Don't be thinking only, when I finish, I want to get a good job in an oil company. What are you solving with that? Who are you helping? How many people are you able to reach? So when you're looking at that with your children, trying to have these conversations, in passing, it might not be that it's family meeting. Oh yeah, sit down, let's have family. No, just in passing. Maybe when you're driving or picking up from school. Picking up from school for us is always a good time. Or when I go for walks with them or we go to the store, it's always a great time to throw in these kind of conversations so they're not too heavy. So that for us, it works for me. So I like it um, when I'm doing shopping. It's not that I need to go with any of them, but I find it's a very good time to extract information from them and get, you're talking because everybody's in the light mood. You're getting a lot of deep information that you wouldn't normally get. So pay attention to what your children are saying. Pay attention to their strengths, their personalities, and any changes too. Pay attention to that. And then don't be too quick to condemn some of the things they say they want to study or they want to do as career choices. So I was on a talk, I think, of a month or two ago, something similar, talking about educating your children at all levels. And the one lady was very upset that her child said he wants to be a YouTuber, and that's what he wants to do when he grows up. So I was asking her, I said, so can you let us know what you're upset about? So she's like, how can you say, what kind of thing is that now? What is a YouTuber? And she was really, so I said, okay. So I said, okay, let me show you some of the YouTubers that you have. I said, they're even young. My nephew is even upstairs here. He has a YouTube channel. I said, it's really about the value that you intend to bring in. Again, talking about solutions and the value. When you're able to bring value, people see the value and they'll pay for it. So if through your YouTube channel, you're able to get to the point where you have your hundreds of thousands or your million followers and you're able to continue to provide value, money is already coming in. You're able to,
That is
start,
it.
yeah. So the money is already coming
That,
in.
there's
So
a
now,
question here.
yeah,
MM.
lovely. Okay.
Somebody sent in a question. Say, what are the chances that a child from an illiterate home will get proper guidance from his parents on the choice of his career? And what do you think we can do if he's not getting?
Beautiful. That's a lovely question. I think one of the things that we're trying to see how to do is do a bit more mentorship so that people out there begin to understand that let's find ways that we can create platforms, even like this, where people can come up and ask questions. Let people know there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of information, even if you're from an illiterate home. We're hoping that at some stage the child is able to be directed to be able to learn how to, for example, search online. Because online now, you can find all sorts of things. You can find all sorts of things. So with the kind of education we actually need worldwide, I would say Nigeria mainly, but worldwide, is that the education system has to be able to point these children to be more futuristic, to see a more hopeful future, so that their areas of strength, they can see how they can apply them in their future. So many times the children are probably seeing, I do a lot of work in the public sector and public schools, and real marginalized, disadvantaged schools. And most of the kids, you ask them, some of them can't see beyond where they are. And you say, what do you want to do? And they say, I want to have like a big market stall, or I want to be a teacher, or, and then so they're just thinking of what they're doing now. Maybe their mom has a small stand. The furthest they can think is that
recycling.
The poverty, this whole just recycling the poverty mentality is, me, I want to have a bigger what do you call it, kiosk to sell things or something, so this is what it is. So exposure, when we're doing the mentorship, something as simple as looking at pictures. And when I go to the community, I try and take a lot of big posters and pictures and show the children. And it's amazing, just those things, how they can begin to see themselves in this and go, oh, people are doing this. Oh, there's something like this, So we're going to have to be mentoring. If you know these families, any opportunity you have, talk to them and continue to encourage. We hope we get to the point where we can have full, mentorship, where we go into these communities. Many of these children, they find their way in the end, but some of them don't. But with the amount of information out there right now, we hope that, they're able to get to that point where they discover a bit more. There's a lot of things you can find for free out there, but I feel mentorship is also really important. Even in the private schools, most schools don't have counselors anymore because they can't fit them into their budget. So children still go astray. Yeah, many schools have just been like, we don't need a counselor. They just find one teacher who's like, this person is quite nice. Go and talk to this person. And it's not always very helpful. People like for me, I studied engineering for 2 years, and then I changed to psychology. And I never liked chemistry and physics, but I happened to pass. My 2 older brothers did chemical engineering and then mechanical engineering. So I was like, oh, engineering might not be bad. And I did food and technology, food tech and engineering for 2 years. And I almost died there because the chemistry was horrible. I hated it. I was like, what am I doing here, And then I changed to psychology, which is more of something that's a bit more me. But it was a big struggle then, Imagine if I'd gotten the proper guidance, because I just thought,
from the onset.
Yeah, from the onset. I've always liked creative stuff like art. But at that time, talking about art, they'll be looking at you like, how? Even the social sciences at that time was like, they were still managing to look at you. If you're not in the sciences, you're not getting the kind of respect. And then my highest grades were always in French and math. I can speak, all my results, I get A1 in French, A1 in math. I think I got 1 A in English once. Then every other thing, C. Every other things were C's, So you can already see the projection from my grades alone. But I still went and studied engineering. I did the whole thing. I did the jam and I passed that. And then when I got in, it was quite a terrible time. It was a big struggle.
Wow.
It was a big struggle. So imagine that kind of thing. So so imagine
another question here.
Yes, please.
So what should inform our choices as parents on the type of schools we send our children to, putting financial constraints into perspective?
I think one of the things I would always say is, let me see which one now. So the financials, the schools are expensive, no doubt, and especially as we don't have a strong public sector, so schools are quite expensive. But you want to look at the schools that have your similar kind of values. I always describe choosing a school as deeply as choosing a life partner. Because even if you're only going to be there for 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to be there all the time. You want to make sure that the children are taken care of, they're loved, and they're allowed to thrive. There's no perfect school. So you may spend your time going around and looking for that school that has the perfect thing. They may have the perfect building, they have the wrong teachers. Okay, they may have great teachers. It's true. So they may have great teachers and very ugly facilities. They may have great resources, great teachers, but they're very unsafe. Okay, so there are a lot of things that you would want to see. What are your core values? For us, one of the things we always looked at for the children was schools that I'm always big on reading programs. I'm not because I'm an educator, but I wanted to know that you actually have a progressive reading program. So that was something for me. And it wasn't always that we went to the expensive schools, but I would look at that, and then I wanted to know that the school also had good values. So good values are very important for us because I want a place where the children there too also are, you don't want a place where they have a bad reputation in terms of the children who go there. So good values was important. I'm just saying for us, everybody has their own top three. So just like how you have, you look at the different values that are important to you, look at the top three things. Of course, location is important for me, but if location means that I'm going to a school where they don't match my values, then I'll find some, you have to be thinking of how to change for that. And then the care. The
Okay.
kids they all went to boarding school. So our daughter is in a boarding school too. So I've always liked boarding schools. I know some parents are against that. I've always liked boarding schools, which everyone is always surprised because we're so close to the kids. So I'm always like, you're going to go to boarding. You must go to boarding. I think it's a really good aspect where they also learn those other responsibilities that in a structured environment. At home, it would be a bit of a war, for us sometimes trying to get you to do some of the things. So I've always liked boarding schools for us. So when we're choosing boarding schools, I want to make sure that there's, for example, zero tolerance to bullying in those kind of environments. I want to make sure
Okay.
the pastoral care is good. Our middle son school has been schooling in Scotland, and the school he's in, the people are just simply amazing team of people. It's in Scotland, so you can imagine that. I think there are only 3 Black children in that whole school. So when we got there, I got to a point where I was like, what have I done? And when I got there, I just realized, oh, there are only 3 Black kids. What have we done? Oh my God, it's going to be bullied. I started worrying, and we've never had any single. But when I got there, and there's that thing about discernment. For me, it's
Okay.
always important. Yeah, I go into a place and I find, this place, this is there's something about them. Everyone was so warm. Nobody, he says, as if no one even sees anything about color. He said no one has ever. Some people might tease him and they ask him sometimes, "Wow, your hair is a bit kinky," and they ask, "Oh, is that how African hair is?" But he says he's never had any case of anything. You know, some people might just sometimes they're not sure maybe how to handle maybe some questions like, oh, like his own hair now. When he couldn't cut his hair locked down, the hair was very scattered. So teachers are like, this is your hair. I don't know how the African hair, how's it meant to be? How do you cut it? And so, but the care, the care that they've shown them, for me, it's like that's just the number. That's really important, especially knowing that I'm not going to be there and nearby. And the values, the values is just really important. The little things that they do, they encourage them to go out to the community, take care of the older people. It happens to be a Christian school, so they do all the hymns. So those little things, the teachers are very, very, very involved in their learning. So those are some things you
Okay.
would look at. So yeah, so for parents that are thinking about school fees and stuff, look at the core values. And if big schools and expensive schools are not, doesn't mean that they're good schools. Okay, so try and invest in other things like extracurricular or even travel. Even local travel is education on its own. So
Okay.
invest in those
Holiday
things.
travelings and all
Yeah.
sorts.
Even going to the
Okay.
village right now for some people, it's actually education too. Yeah. Going to the
Yeah.
village.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
As much as we want our children to make decisions on their career choices, we need them to make informed decisions.
Yes.
And I believe this can come through wide reading. What
Yes.
are the tips to encourage in children reading culture?
To get
The
them to
reading
read more.
culture
Yeah.
of the children, yes.
Okay. I think for parents, it also starts with them being examples. I think one of the best ways to get children to read is to get the parents to read. So one of the things we used to do then is we would try and have, okay, guys, let's put the TV off a little bit. Let's take out time to all read. So we have like this living room, and we have like a lot of lazy chairs. Those chairs you just kick out and you relax. So sometimes I'll bring my books, sit down there, and get everyone to just bring their own, and then we all sit down there and try and read. So the best example, really, and to get it into them is to be the example, because it's
Okay.
very some of us parents, we just talk the talk, like, you guys don't read, it. And then you are there on your phone or on Instagram or whatever it is, or doing a live video or doing live videos all the time. So I think the best example, parents, is to even put it on the calendar. If you need to, you can even put it on
Okay.
the timetable and say, guys, Thursdays 5 to 7, It's
For reading.
yes, drop everything and read kind of thing, and then let's see the books you're reading and all that. Yeah, so make it into a challenge, but be involved. Don't just tell them read. Let them learn new vocabulary from the books that they read and all that. But be an example too. Join
Okay.
reading clubs also. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Please, what's your take on holiday schools? Holiday schools, as in, after a class, going when the children are being promoted into another class, they
Yeah.
instead for them to enjoy their holiday, they are
The
still
holiday. Yeah.
stuck with holiday schools.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your take on this, or what do you
Okay. Yeah.
advise us?
Yeah. So I think I'm the worst person to ask that because I dislike the idea of lessons and burdening your children, and that's why I'm saying to parents, try and understand your children. Don't panic. One thing I would tell you why I've been sharing about, then and now, to show you how the journey has been. So sometimes you're panicking like, hey, my kids are not doing like other kids. They're not getting they can't recite the states of Nigeria. I mean, who even to who want their 3-year-olds to recite the states and capitals? I mean, what use is that? So don't panic. Try and really look at things holistically, okay? Don't really panic and start worrying that they can't count. Even if you want to do holiday school, not your whole holiday, please. Even if it means 2 weeks, and then you now continue. And one thing I'll keep saying, parents, reason together with your children. So many of us just dump them and say, oh yeah, tomorrow you are starting lesson. People are going to be doing holiday. Don't make it like a punishment. All right. Sit down with them, explain to them, discuss with them, and let them know. You guys, because I feel your math is not so strong, you're going to do 2 weeks of or 3 weeks of summer school, and then we're going to allow you to choose something else. Okay. So mix and match. It's not a punishment. It's not their fault. Okay. And then be involved. So I don't normally like it, but once in a while, especially when they have exams, I've had to do that, but I can't do that every day, and it's not a punishment. So I mix it up with fun. Because really, when you make it like that, they begin to resist you, and then you end up having other behavioral issues that you didn't anticipate. So, and the children
Yeah,
also,
that's
yeah, because they're rebelling, they can also go there and just turn it into something else. So again, every family has individual needs, so you must also know your individual needs. Choosing a school is not, as I said, it's not like everyone, because Janet is doing this, I'm going to do that way. It might not work for you. Okay, so you find out what works for you, find out what works best for you, and then always think of how you can improve it in your own capacity. What can you add to what it is that they're learning? All right. So
okay.
you can also buy workbooks, flashcards, and things like that at home, and get them to do some learning also. I hope that
Okay.
helps.
So you just mentioned TV. What impact has internet and social media had on making career choices in the 21st century?
Oh, I think it's had a huge impact, very huge, and it's almost scary. It's scary because if you don't know how to manage information well, if you don't know how to harness and leverage on the information you see online, you can make the most nonsense kind of decisions. Okay, so it's true because you see, I mean, there's so many weird things now. And when the people you speak to right here, many young people you speak to in Nigeria, sometimes you hear them say things like, Meg, I just want blow. And I never know, like, what? I just want blow. You're like, okay, they just want to blow, like, whatever these people, what they see on TV or social media. You see, I watched the video of one of them, I don't know which one of them, one of these stars, and he went to buy a car and he was throwing money. And I mean, it was actually really disgusting. He was like, "Hey, I bought a car," and he was throwing dollars on the floor. I mean, so I'm like, and then the kids are there. They're like, "Oh, and this is what you want to be like." So you
You
must
want
really
to
have this.
blow.
Yeah, it's really crazy. You must have these conversations with your children. Let them know that they have an open ground when they come to you with some of these conversations. Parents, please try not to be like, you see, you know how you will switch and go, you see, what is so fun? You wanna, and then you now start, you start switching, and let them know they can talk to you, no matter how ridiculous it sounds. You go and pray for grace to be able to receive. Let them know, because the information on social media is very confusing. Sometimes I don't talk about something and say, Mom, is it true that, I saw this and this and this? And even me in my head, sometimes I would have probably fainted and resurrected, because the question is like, oh, and then I'm like, you know what, just give me a few seconds. I want to go to my room and go like, hey, God help me. And then I come back and I'm like, okay, so about this question you said, it's not something we believe in. However, So we have this talk and but don't let, I would tell them anything they ask me, anything, whether my face is going to turn purple or red, or I have to take some time and catch my breath, I would answer them. Because I told them, I need you to know that I don't want you going anywhere else to get your major source of information. So anything you feel you're not really sure about, come and ask us, talk to us and all that. So the media it's a major contender. It's a serious competition for every other thing. There's a lot of nonsense out there. People don't even know how to decipher. You see fake news and they run with it. So parents, you need to have, yes, you must have these conversations with your children. Go out for ice cream and talk. Take out, if you have 5 children, dedicate one day or a few hours for one child. Go and gist with them. Let them open up and talk with you. Yes.
Each child, not all of them together
Yes.
at once.
Yes. So give them, because you'll be surprised at the kind of things, you'll be surprised at the kind of things they're saying. You're like, huh? I didn't know that, or I didn't, our daughter has always said she wants to study something in fashion. And meanwhile, she's very strong in math, languages, also. So her math her math is almost 100%. So I'm always like, how do we combine math with your languages and all that and stuff? And she's, I think from the age of 9, she's 14 now, 14 and a half now. But she's always said she wants to do fashion. And she went online one day and discovered in FIT that they have fashion engineering. Can you believe that there's a course like that?
Wow.
So she's like, yeah, because so you actually make the machinery and the equipment that is used by this thing. So she's always been obsessed with fashion. So imagine that as a parent now, you will now be like, this fashion thing, keep your eyes on your book. She's always been, she likes drawing stuff, she's really good at art. She likes drawing. She likes looking at styles, for her, if you want to make her really happy, like, let's just go window shopping. Ooh, she loves it. Some days I'm even like, you know what, you can even go and try on clothes. And then I'll be like, oh, this is nice, even if we're not buying the clothes. But she's always like fashion. And then you'll see her, she will look at the fabric, look at the inseams. So very interesting, so I can already see where, to an extent,
she's interested.
Yes, you can see her area of interest. So we take our time and look at things that we could harness it and make it into something valuable. Also, she's talking about things like sustainable fashion and how to save water and things that I didn't even know existed. All right, so there's a lot out there, but social media is what it is. It's social media is not researched data. So parents, you must be able to, they said, let your children speak with you. I mean, give them that room to have these conversations with you. Try not to drive them away by your attitude. Okay, give them that room to converse, to open up, so that you can also correct them in the way that we were designed to be. That's what we're meant to be as parents. We're meant to be we're meant to guide them. We're meant to counsel. We're meant to mentor them. And then as they get older, you're turning into a coach. You're actually because that's what it is. The older they get now with these children, I have to be asking them more questions than saying, listen, pick up that thing right now. Now our conversations are like, oh, I spoke to my older son today. I'm like, he said, oh, Mom, I'll call you back. We're going out with our friends. I'm like, oh, okay. Instead of saying, where are you going to? I'm like, oh, okay, at this time. Okay, tell me more now. What's up? What's happening? Where are you guys? So yeah, we're going to hang out in this place and this place and this place. So all I can do with a grown person as 22, for goodness sake, I can coach you. We can ask questions. Is that the best thing you want to do right now? Do you think you want to move it to a later time? It's like, no, okay, I want to do it now so that I can focus on this, that. Simple. So now we're asking more questions to get them to think of the solutions themselves. So the older they get, from the age of like 10, 11, you want to start to drop that nagging as best as possible. You want to equip them with the solution. So coaching is a really good approach. You want to be asking them questions that make them think, is that the best way you could have responded to that? Are there better things you could have done to handle this situation? Okay, so yeah.
Given the current trends, what career paths do you think should be more explored by parents and children alike?
I think, again, I'll just go back to thinking of solutions and their strengths, because there are probably 1,000 of us watching. I've just spoken about my 3 children, which is the most diverse range of things. One person is doing something in the arts. Second one is chemical engineering. My daughter is talking about fashion. Me, I am a management consultant. My husband is a lawyer who runs a chain of gyms in Nigeria. We have over 7 gyms. So he's a lawyer who has turned into who was focusing on the fitness business. So nobody, I mean, it's not, it has not yet appeared what you shall be. So what the only thing that you can do is that you must keep in the trend. Don't feel that because technology is it, you want to stuff technology down their throat. Okay, so
Please,
most people are
can you repeat that? The network fluctuated. Please,
okay. I said
can you repeat
don't think
that?
don't think that because everything is going techie now. You know, there's artificial intelligence and there's technology. So most parents are now like by force. My children, you must do something in data analysis or those kind of things, right? What I would advise you is that you observe every career path or every vocation or every industry. It has so many segments to it, that if you decide to focus on one aspect, you can also excel in that. So even for example, medicine itself, okay, you might not be you might not be a doctor, but then there's so many parts all the way down to the people who make the equipment, the people who coach others. You know, so there's so many aspects to every profession.
Yeah.
So no one can tell you what it is that you need to, what you can actually get your kids to study, because I can assure you in the next 3 years there are going to be some new things that will come up right now. Nowadays, you ask people I meet nowadays, I don't even know what they up to now. I don't know what they do. I have some friends. You say, "What do you do?" They say, "I'm a strategic and so coach." And even me, that I'm an adult, I'll be going, "Okay, okay, I don't know what you do." Okay, so when they say I have strategic and something something, I have risk as you know, so conflict. There's so many things right now we don't understand them, even we ourselves as adults. Okay, so I think a lot of these things, what you want to do is that you're supporting them, you're easing it so that when they get to that point, it's easier for them to be able to actually make that decision. Okay, so your role is to, and that's what we said, is how to study them, look at the things, provide books for them. Sometimes let them do things that they don't really want to do, but you can find a way to encourage them, like things like skills. Build up skills. Skills are very important. That's why I'm saying extracurricular, swimming, cooking, all those things are skills. Communication skill. Let them do things like public speaking. Let them learn. These are lifetime skills that you need. So while you are trying to find and think of the career, make sure your children are well equipped. During this ASNI, my nephew happens to be around in Abuja. He's 14. He worked with us these 2 days, and we paid. He did so. I'm just looking at him. He was the one gathering all the data. He was the one putting in all the stuff. He was the one doing all the uploads on Reels, so that as the event was going on, he was doing the uploading. He's 14. Okay,
Wow.
so these are skills that, I mean, and he was paid for this, like every other adult. He was paid too for doing all these things. So you want to get your children to learn skills. Many times when I would have my summer camps, as my kids got older, they would come back and come and teach. Okay, so my first son plays the guitar also, so I would come and teach them songs or coding. Okay, so these are all skills that you don't have to go to university to study. So if I haven't mentioned anything, if you don't remember anything, please, skills are, they're almost more important than all this one about getting to before you get to university. Build up on skills from an early age, as soon as they can. If you see that a child has some skill set, build up on things, even this, all those soft skills. As I said, the speaking, the reading, being able to, today in the children's church, we watched the kids. One little child played the saxophone, and it was beautiful. He played a special number. A child they did a ballet thing that was, people were always crying. Ballet, can you imagine? She did ballet to a song, and I mean, these are things that you never know. This child could be called to come and perform in a place. You never know what it is. So let them book knowledge is important, but for me the skills are 100 times more important. Let them be able to be emotionally intelligent. Let them know how to manage their anger. Those are skills that you want to invest in. So if you want to do something during the holiday, let them do those kind of training programs. Let them go and attempt those kind of things. Okay, those are the kind of things that you want to do. So before you worry about the kind of career choices, you never know what pathway. There may come a time when, like now, many people are going into the nursing field, especially in America, especially with the pandemic. So many people are doing nursing degrees and things like that and qualification. But there will come a time when some other things are needed in the society. Like cybersecurity is a big thing. It's a major challenge worldwide. Anyone who is gifted in that will probably do very well and solve a lot of problems in the country. So people are hacking and hacking and hacking systems. All right. We still need experts to be able to fight those kind of things. All right. So there's a lot that, as I said, look at the problems in society and then
Please,
see
I have a
network.
challenge with challenge with the internet I'm using now. I quickly want to change. I want to switch to
Okay.
another Wi-Fi
Okay.
now. This
Okay.
one is really
Are you gonna go off or
no. I'm just going
okay.
to switch.
Okay, let me see if we'll go off. Okay. Let's see.
Network. The network went off. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Welcome back.
Thank you. You know this network issue. I'm using three networks here.
Don't worry, I've suffered the same too myself. So
I just
it's,
had I had three backups here, and unfortunately, two were.
we're down.
Please,
Oh,
let's continue. Let's continue. The flow is on. The flow is
yeah.
on.
So I think I was trying to answer one of the we're talking about skills. So one thing, as I
Yes.
said, parents take the skill development very important. Those soft skills, because that's what most people use. Many of us, as much as what we study in the university, many of us actually use the skills that we develop as our vocation, as our careers in the end to make an income. I know one of the things I remember when I was much younger. Then I used to do a lot of baking. And so there was one year we had a lot of strikes in the university then in Nigeria. And one of the years they had a strike, I started baking and selling to people. And I made so much money that when I was going back to school for my final year, I told my parents, you know what, don't bother. I have enough pocket money. Um, I'd made enough money to have my own pocket money. Okay. And these are things, even when I first got married, then sometimes when, oh, I need some money, I'll quickly do some baking, go and sell some plain cakes, So you need to build up the skills. Don't be so hung up on academic knowledge, which is important. But many of us, it's actually the skills that we develop that we actually use as a career progression. There's a lady I was interviewing in the States. She said one of her former students is actually now a plumber. He's a plumber in the States and he's making about 4 times the salary that she, the teacher, is making. Because these, I know for us in Africa, nobody wants to hear this, your child, a plumber, carpenter, But the thing of truth about it is that if you're able to get these things right, they're very needed. And some people excel in them. They make a lot more, they employ more people, so they're solving more problems. Okay, so the world is getting to the point where there's more dignity in some of these professions and skills. Okay, so don't be so hung up on the lawyer, doctor. Many years in that law school, you see
Professional.
over, yes, you see 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. People can download agreements right now on the internet. People download agreements right now on the internet. So, or whatever. People do property now. You just get, so there's a lot of things that are being automated and can be done by others. So if you have 3,000 or 5,000 law graduates every year, where exactly are they going to? Who are they lawyering? You know, where are they all going to? Okay, so, or the doctors now. The doctors are needed, but make sure whatever you're doing, always check what the society needs. Okay, look at what the society needs and see how you can fit yourself
So that you
into
can
that.
provide the
Exactly, the
solution,
value. Yes,
solution,
solutions and
solution.
values. So that's really it. Yeah. So
Thank
you'll be
you.
surprised. Yeah. So open
Thank
up your
you.
mind. Open up your mind so that don't just think and go, lawyer, doctor, engineer. Let me see what else. Nothing else. You know, don't be thinking that way. There's so many things that are
And
coming up
this
in.
issue of fleece method. Okay, this one. I think the lawyer, or medical doctor will fit in. Or my stature as I am now, I should be able to do this.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
All those ones.
Exactly. Exactly.
May God help us. May God
Amen. So
help
just
us. I
that.
have a lot of questions here,
Okay.
but
Okay.
our time is fast spent.
Okay.
But do you care to answer the questions in the Family Robust group?
Okay.
Please,
So
please.
I'm in the group now, right? So am I in the group? So I'll be, yeah, I think I'm in the group. So if I see them, I can answer them, right? Oops, your sound went off. Okay, so if you send me the questions, I can answer them as long as I have between today and tomorrow. I don't mind answering the questions. That's really fine. Um, she's frozen. I don't know if I can be seen or I can be heard. I'm not sure. I hope her sound comes out. Okay, so yes, I will answer the questions. If I have between today and tomorrow, I will check the questions and then I will answer them. So one thing, if you can hear me, because I can't see the comments here, but if you can hear me, for those of us who are watching, try and encourage your children to develop skills. Okay, support them in that area. Listen to them when they're talking. Don't be too quick to brush off the kind of things they tell you they want to study. Ask them questions about it. Let's see how their thinking is going. Okay, I've seen children say weird things like, I want to be a mermaid when I grow up, or I want to be whatever it is. Okay, so don't be so quick to brush off. Try and ask them questions. Encourage them to do a lot of extracurricular activities, which will help them discover their different skill sets that they might not have known that they had. And then be careful with the kind of schools you choose. Make sure the schools are able to allow them to express themselves in the way that is important to you, your value system, and the things that you believe in. So I don't like schools where they try and suppress the children and say, this is the way things should be done. You want to express themselves. Okay, I'm not sure whether, okay.
Yeah.
I think her network is.
I am very sorry. I'm
No
very sorry.
problem.
This just
No
happened
problem.
today. And I'm very sure that this won't be the end of me and you working together. This is a family thing, and we
Yes.
always have to reiterate so many things to our
Yes.
parents so that we can learn. We can
Yes.
learn and learn and learn always. This is education that you are teaching us today. Please,
Yes.
if I call you back, tell me the truth. Will you come?
Yes, ma. Yes, auntie.
You will come.
Definitely, I would. the way the Lord, the way the Lord made it
Thank
possible
you
that
very
I'm free
much.
today, I will. I mean, no problem. We can always work out the time when this thing. So you want me to check the questions later, right? Okay. Can they tag me and then I know that I can come and ask, answer the questions, right? In the group.
Yes, I can. Yes, yes,
Okay.
I can.
Or
Okay,
if you send
somebody,
them to.
let's just do this. Let's just
Okay.
say, how about children with disabilities? A child on wheelchair has a passion for football and wants to play someday. How do you guide his choice of career and help him feel fulfilled? Oh,
I think that, again, that's not. I mean, football, as you can see, football is quite a high end, but very competitive. So that's why I'm saying extracurricular. Parents, football clubs,
but a
sign them up.
child on wheelchair.
A child in wheelchair.
Oh.
A child in wheelchair. There are other aspects to it. If you're not playing, you can also be doing the supporting coaching. You can be doing side
Okay.
this thing. They do have sports for children with disabilities. They do have like the
Okay,
Paralympics, for
that's true.
example. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's so the
yeah,
person could be
that's
a
true.
commentator. You could be a commentator. You might not be playing. Okay, so you
That's
can be the
true.
data analyst in football. So that, as I said, in any profession, there's so many aspects to it. So continue to
Hmm.
encourage, as I said, talk to them, encourage them. The child is in a wheelchair, they're not condemned. They can still take part in that. You may be surprised that the child could be a support coach. They can be there to coach. They can create content. They can be
Okay.
the content developers for a football club. They can even design
Okay.
the jerseys. There's so many aspects to it. So yeah.
Wow, that's
Uh-huh.
it's quite wide.
Yeah.
Please, the last for now.
Okay.
What do you advise schools that closes 5 p.m., 6 p.m. for KG kindergarten schools, nursery schools? Jesus, please, what advice do you have to give to the schools and even with parents that children come so late in the
I'm so late. Yeah, well, I think again for the schools to be doing that, that means there's probably a need or a demand. Many schools here, that's how long they go because parents go to work. So parents go to work from 7:30 to 4. So when they leave work, maybe they want to buy something, they come pick up their children and they go home. That is actually working hours for most parents. So it's better you're in
Hmm,
school than at home with a nanny that may abuse you or someone that is not taking care of you well. So if school is taking care of you well, then I
okay.
mean, that would be the place to be. So most schools, they give you the option. You can close at
Okay.
2 o'clock. So if your school doesn't have the option, you can ask them. If you're not a working mom and you have the time, pick up your kids on time and spend time with them. Okay, give them that time. But most schools are doing it because there's a need. I've had parents even ask us sometimes, can the children sleep over? So you know that there are
Hmm.
problems with some parents. They're like, can the kids be sleeping over? Nursery kids, I'm talking about, not older ones. They were asking us one time whether 4-year-olds can sleep over in school. I have a lady that brought a business plan. She's starting a 24-hour nursery and creche. So you're complaining about 5 p.m. Someone is doing something, a 24-hour nursery and creche, so that parents can have their children sleep over. Oh, her network is off again. I hope you come back soon, Janet. Yeah, so for schools to be doing that, dear parents, that means there must be a demand. And if it's too late for you, what you can do is speak with the school, let them know that they should give you options, let them give you the flexible options. So some of the schools that we consult with, we get the parents to, we get the school to have the main activities from 8 to 2 and then a 30-minute break. So anyone who needed to go home at 2, they can go home. And then those who want to stay back for after school care, it's like a separate package, okay? So if school can take care of them better than them being at home with someone who's not taking care of them well, then let them. It's better they stay in school and are better taken care of. Um, I'm not sure if I'm still on the show or if. So I'll wait for Janet to come back one more time and then we will just round up and I have to take your questions. So do feel free to also reach me, as you can share my contacts if you like, and you can also send me stuff. I mean, my name also, if you check me on Instagram, you can send me DMs if you wanted to ask questions. I don't use my Facebook as much, but if I had questions there, I would still answer. All right, so you can check me out. Or my name is also my website. You can also send me a message if you wanted to. So emmemopashi.com. I have that. You can also check that out too. Woo! Welcome. We'll try one more question, and then we would now.
Please don't let us try anyone again. I don't want this embarrassment that this
It's
network is
I want them
giving
throwing
me.
you out. Can you imagine?
If you know
Wow.
how prepared and set I am for
I
this,
know.
it's just tripping. Then the light. So I don't know what happened. It's tripping off somewhere.
In
It's not that
where
the
you are,
light is going
you're
off.
in
It's
Burkina
not that the
Faso.
light. Yes,
You
we
guys.
have constant supply of light here.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Constant supply. Like we don't have issues with light, but it's tripping off.
Okay.
It's tripping.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Woo! Thank you so much. I'm really
Thank
happy.
you.
I'm really happy. So happy. Thank you for coming, Opashi. We can't
Thank you
learn
so much.
everything you have learned in so many years. There's no way we can get everything. I've gotten This is just the tip of the iceberg you've given us this evening.
Mm.
So thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Don't
you.
worry.
Thank you.
I will connect with you. I will connect. We know where we connect.
Yeah, so honestly,
Thank
thank you
you
very much.
so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you. Thank you everyone
coming.
for
So,
watching. So I'll look out for your
yeah.
questions. If you can share some with me on WhatsApp if you like also, and then I can try and answer them between today and tomorrow and send to you if
Okay.
you want to do that too.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay. So bye
Thank you.
bye. I love
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
I love
Bye
you.
everyone. Mwah.
Say hello
Au
to your
revoir.
husband. We
Merci.
respect our husbands here. So thank you.
Yes.
Say thank you.
Thank
Say
you,
me well
Bankole.
to your husband. The
Thank you. I will do
children,
so.
I love you all.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much. I
much.
appreciate you too. So thank God bless.
Whew. It's like we should not finish this webinar again. Honestly speaking, parenting with ease is so sweet. It's so sweet to be a parent. And I'm telling you, with adequate knowledge, parenting will be very easy. We won't be tormented because we are parents. No, 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 no. Family robust is a reality. I believe it. And that's the mandate we are working with. I believe, okay. By God's grace, next month we'll bring up another webinar. So bring in your friends to Family Robust. Here we are very intentional to help families, to help individuals, to help everyone that is here. This is the mandate that has been given to us. This is the mandate. This is the mandate. And we are going to do it with my, in fact, I am going to run with it with my strength, whether with sweat or whatever. Thank you for coming. I'm grateful. Thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Ooh, thank you. I feel like dancing. I feel like dancing. I don't feel like leaving. Should I leave?